Hi, I'm Brittany King.
And I'm Lisset King, and welcome to Honest Feedback. We are a podcast here for you. We're here to answer any of your burning questions. If you just need a friend, someone to bounce an idea off of, that's us. Give us a call. Yeah, and we are here with my amazing, magnificent wife, Goddess Brittany King, who is a pleasure priestess. She helps women go from numb to embodied using sensual movement and sacred ritual.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And my amazing and phenomenal wife, Lisset King, is an emotional ninja. She helps leaders release baggage and limiting beliefs so they can live and love their life of purpose. Mm-hmm. You're like a transformational dragon.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Can I put that on a business card?
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, you definitely can. And what are we talking about today?
Today we have an amazing question. We are talking about when do you know it's time to move on? Or is it okay to move on when things are okay? There's a lot of movement when things are bad, but can we move on when things are good?
This is a toughie one because I feel like in my lived experience, I have definitely waited, I think, until the dumpster is on fire to be like, oh, I don't think I can live here anymore. I think I got to get out. Things are burning down to the ground. And so for it to be from a different kind of place seems different. What's even your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, my journey has been this connection to my higher self. And what I have found is higher spirit comes to you when things are good. Spirit comes to you when things are bad. Spirit tells you what to do when. And how do you honor that when it doesn't look conventional? Yeah. And I've had that many a times. I've had this in my own life when it was just this is okay, but I don't love it.
Yeah.
In relationships, I've felt that. In career, I felt that. And I am super excited because today we have an epic guest. And we're not just saying that because that's part of her branding. This woman is epic.
She really is.
Capital EPIC. And she's just been such a powerful force in our lives. We've been blessed to not only, call her a colleague, but a friend. Yeah. And, she's an epic mentor. And I just want to give a little intro to her. Yeah. Marli Williams is an international speaker, master facilitator, play activist, and joy instigator who first fell in love with transformational leadership as a camp counselor. 2 degrees and 20 years of leadership training later, Marli decided to give herself the permission to be the professional camp counselor she knew she was born to be. Now she helps incredible people and organizations stop waiting for permission and start taking bold action to be the change makers and leaders they've always wanted to be. Yes. Should we call Marli?
Yes, let's call Marli. Let's get her on the line.
Hey, Marli, what a treat to have you on today. Thank you. We had a really epic question about what's next for someone, and we were like, who do we know who's going through a transition that can really help us answer this question? And you were the first person.
Well, I am super stoked to get to be here with you all today.
Yay! Before we jump in, I would love for you to say in your own words, how are you serving in the world? How are you being a light? We personally know, and I want everybody else to know how freaking amazing this woman is.
Well, I am on a mission to serve and support transformational leaders, coaches, and speakers in creating exceptional, life-changing experiences, events, workshops, and retreats. So that's the space that I'm really leaning into and stepping into because of the ripple effect that has when they feel confident in their mission and message and magic, the ripple effect that has on other people's lives through the experiences that they are creating. So that is what is lighting me up these days and the work that I am up to in the world, as well as going to events and conferences as a keynote speaker and putting on my own workshops, events, and retreats. So that's what I'm up to.
So phenomenal. Lisette and I both got to experience one of your signature experiences, Camp Yes. Look at the merch, y'all. Amazing merch. Yes. And it was beautiful. Marli puts on a beautiful experience of a summer camp for women to say yes to themselves in big and massive ways. And this past year, Lisette and I were each camp counselors, and it was amazing to just hear your story. So I would love if you could share with the community just a bit of like what led you to this path of supporting leaders in this way.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the big catalyst for my journey was when I was 19 years old. I decided to go on this 50-day outward bound course.
50 days!
50 days in the middle of the woods with a group of people I didn't know. And I was like, I'm going into the woods to find myself. And I was, it was the summer after my freshman year of college. I had no idea what I wanted to do kind of with my life. And after that course, I came home and I was like, I found like my mission and my purpose in the world, which is to take people in the woods and make them cry, which is now what I do for a living. I was just like, I was so blown away by the power of the outdoors to change and transform people's lives. And that really set me on this course and this mission of like, okay, how do I become the most epic transformational leader, guide, mentor, and facilitator? And I studied outdoor education. I had mentors. I had coaches. I was a wilderness guide for 5 years, got my master's in education, and really like the through line and the thread to everything that I've done is really asking this question of like, how do I create transformation in someone else's life through an experience, workshop, training, event, retreat. And so it's just like, it's the thing that I like geek out on. It's the thing I love learning about. I've taken tons of trainings and courses and programs and read books, and again, had guides and mentors along the path of what makes an experience not just transactional, but transformational. Mm-hmm. And so all of that experience has led me, and then people will come to my events and ask me questions like, how do I do what you do? And so like the seed got planted of like, how can I help other transformational leaders, coaches, and speakers like create these exceptional life-changing events and experiences for other people? And it's really interesting when I think about, there's a lot of support around someone wants to be a life coach, let's say, and there's like life coach school and life coach trainings and certifications, right? And then for speaking, there's like how to give a TED talk and like how to speak, like public speaking training and Toastmasters. And I think that facilitation is the blend of both worlds. Like coaching is like asking powerful questions and holding the space for growth and exploration and transformation. And speaking is like, how do I hold the energetic space of a room and powerfully share a message? And facilitation is just this like super fun, playful, juicy space in between. And it's the space that I feel like is where the most transformation can happen. So yeah, I'm here for it.
Yes, y'all.
And I gotta say, to be in the presence of Marli is to be inspired. Like we started our friendship as like we connected. We were just like, whoa, you've got a vibe. Like you're a powerful leader. Let's kick it. And then I saw her speak, and I was like, I am moved. Like I am inspired. I feel engaged. I want to take action right now. And you really like lit a fire under my ass of like, I see greatness. I want that. So thank you for being who you are in the world.
You're so welcome. It's such an honor. It really is. Yeah.
All right, y'all. You guys ready to jump into this question?
Let's do it.
Okay.
People.
Let's go.
All right. So this one came into the DMs of honest feedback. Hi, Brittany and Lisette. I've been running my own business for 6 years now, and just recently have things gotten a roll with it. It's lucrative and things are going really well. Here's my question. Lately, I've been feeling inspired to pivot my business in a new direction and possibly go down a completely new path. I feel guilty about leaving my current business when things are good where I am. What's next?
Right? Easy question.
Yes,
so good.
So good.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. So I would love for you to kick us off. Like, what came through the field for you hearing this question?
Number one, you don't have to wait for your life or business or relationship to suck to want to change it. So
what?
Like we hear all of these stories of like these speakers, like I hit rock bottom and it was like the worst job ever, or my business, I hated my business. And then people choose to change versus like, I think that the level of self-awareness that this person has to like be like, okay, I'm listening, that there's something else coming through, and how much can I honor that voice in a culture that says, but you know, like, but look, you're already successful. Why would you want to change it? Why would you want to leave that? Why would you pivot from that? And it's like, because I want to. And can we let the because I want to be enough of a reason, instead of like, we feel like we need some other sort of like justification. I don't like it anymore, or it's not making money or whatever. It's like, well, things are going pretty good and I am making money and I want to do this other thing. And can I, like, how much can I really honor that and choose that instead of the narrative that, well, just because it's successful and it's good enough that I should keep doing it. Like, the worst reason to keep doing something is because you've always done it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, if it's not really lighting you up, like, and as entrepreneurs, we get to make those decisions. Like, if we're not having fun, we're doing it wrong. You know, if it's not lighting you up, do something else. You know, like, we get to make up the rules. And giving ourselves, I think so many times people are waiting for permission from somebody other than themselves. So it's like, where can you give yourself permission that it is totally okay to pivot, totally okay to make that shift, totally okay to make the change. And not everybody's going to like it. Not everybody's going to get it. Not everybody's going to understand it. Not everybody's going to support it. So it's like, you have to be in alignment with that and find the people that can and will support you in that next iteration.
Yeah. So, you know, this reminds me, you and I have been riffing on this lately, is this, how often people will stay with something because it's not bad. It's not bad.
It's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
It's fine.
No, he doesn't hit me. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like,
I don't hate my business that much.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. It's good enough. And with so many people stay in good enough land. Okay land.
Yeah.
Like, not that bad land. And it's like,
it pays the bills.
Yeah. It's like, I one of my first decks, we can swear on this, one of my first iterations of the Stowe quotes, it says, fuck fine, I want freaking amazing.
Yes.
And it's like, fuck fine. You know, how you doing? Fine. How's your business? Fine. How's your relationship? Fine. And it's like, fuck that noise. Like, you have permission to create whatever it is that you want. And that inspiration is our intuition. It is our higher wisdom. It is our higher self. Like, I'm feeling called to this next thing. And one of the things that I always tell people too along that journey is, like, everything that you've done up till that point has served whatever is next for you. It hasn't been a waste of time. Like, people that feel like they're behind or they're not as far along, or, you know, like, everything that you've done, like, when I look back on the course of my life, people are like, how did you create Camp Yes? And it's like, it's really been like a culmination and a combination of all the training and all the experience that I've had that has got me to this point and has prepared me for whatever is next on the path. And can I tune in and pay attention and listen enough and honor whatever it is that's next? Because we're constantly evolving and changing. And there is, like, you know, every 7 years, I don't know if it's like actually true by science, but like our cells like regenerate, like we actually like become a new human. So it's like, this like 6-year itch, like, I'm 7 years into my business. Like I'm right at that cusp too. And so honoring that is so important.
Yeah, the 7-year thing is actually just profound because as we elevate, as we turn into this newest version of us, something is asking to be birthed. Like our new life is coming forth. It's bubbling. It's asking this newest version of you to meet it. And that's just wild to think of that. Can you speak to it from your own personal experience?
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, like last weekend we were at Camp Yes, and I declared a couple months before this event that this would be like the last Camp Yes in this iteration, this like big epic summer camp slip and slide like talent show experience. And I had to, and that was a really tough decision for me to come to, because in so many ways I feel like it's like the thing that I've become known for. People like get lit up about it, they get excited about it, and yet like even though in so many ways it's great and good enough and like I should keep doing it, or people are confused of why, like so many people have reached out, why is this the last camp and I didn't get a chance to come, and and even people at camp being like really sad and disappointed that it's the last one. And for me to really honor and listen, that it's my only reason is it's time. It's just time. And I have ran it for the past 7 years. And can I let that reason be enough when it's so easy to like want to like explain or justify to other people why? And it's like, because I get to decide, like it is my business and it is my life, and it's where do I want to put my time and energy into? And I get really curious, like, well, what gets to be there when that's not there? And this question of like, how do I know when it's time to let go of something? And I will say, like, there have been many years leading up to camp, like that month before when it's like go time. I just been like in my garage, like, I am never fucking doing this again. This is insane. What am I doing with my life? Like, as great as camp is, it's just a lot of work. And it's just me. I mean, I have a team at the event, but other than that, all year long, I'm marketing it and selling it and filling it and ordering the gear and the swag and the lighting and the food. And so it started to feel heavy. And again, if I'm not having fun, I'm doing it wrong. And I want to, and I also, with something like camp, I love the concept of the experience. I believe in it. I love holding the space, but it puts me in this role of an event coordinator and a logistic coordinator versus a transformational facilitator and leader. And like, there are moments at camp that I get to like lead and facilitate, but I'm like, I want to create events where I'm doing more of what I want and being more in my zone of genius and less in this like logistical coordination land. So it's like paying attention to like leaning into what's lighting me up. And the only person that I need permission from is me. And I think for a lot of years, I didn't give up on camp because all of the people that were like bummed or sad or disappointed, like I've even showed up to camping like, I don't know if I'm going to do this next year. And then because people have such an amazing time, I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do it again, because it's so great. And I don't want to, I've been doing a lot of work on my recovering people pleaser of like, oh, I don't want to disappoint people and I don't want to let people down. And I've really learned to be okay with that. Like, it's okay that you're sad that camp is over. I'm sad too.
Yeah.
And it's okay, but it's not a reason to keep doing it.
Yeah. This is so poignant and moving to hear you share. And there's the voice inside of me that I feel like might be inside of other people of like, how have you gotten the courage to lean and walk away from what's good? Like I hear about like recovering people pleaser and like all of those pressures feel very real and like it's just time. But like how have you literally been like, I'm leaning because I know it's time? Because I've been in the situation, like, I remember being in a relationship with my boyfriend at the time. And like, I remember one time taking a picture of him on the couch and I was just like, I really feel like this is ending. So I feel like I should like capture this moment because like I could feel it, but like the words weren't coming out. And they literally like woke me up from sleep to come out of my mouth. But like, I wasn't having the courage to say the thing, to do the thing. So can you speak into that space of like, where did you need to go inside of yourself to find the courage to be like, it's time and I'm going to say it's time?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's such a good question because I think a lot of people are in a job or a relationship or a business that they don't like anymore, or that's not in alignment anymore, or that's not a fit anymore. And it's just so easy to make excuses of why we stay in something that's okay or fine or good enough. And it brings me back to, and I think like if for anyone who's, you know, in a job that wants to leave their job, I worked at a university for 5 years before starting my own business. And it's like working at a university in this like great college town. Like I had my master's in education. It was like a job that was very much like my degree was like meant for this job. I was working with amazing college students and like I was pretty much like a life coach for college students. And I had a great job in a great town at a great university. And people stay at that college for a long time because it's just such a good gig and such a great town. And I remember like making this decision to leave and declaring it kind of to the universe of like, all right, this is my last year in this job. And I had to be in such alignment with that because of all the people that are like, you're crazy to leave. You're you know, like, why would you ever leave? You know, it doesn't make sense. And for so many people because of their own fears. And so one of the biggest things for me, like leaving that job, was surrounding myself with other people that do get it, that like hold me, that will support me. Like I had never sold a thing in my life and I was going to go become an entrepreneur. So I joined a mastermind and I went to events where I met other like coaches and speakers and entrepreneurs that were like, you can do this. And I also like had to cultivate the capacity and the courage in me to say like, you know, and this is good. You know, we talk about like, what is the best case scenario? Like I'm out there like changing lives. Like I leave my full-time steady, stable job and I'm like doing what I love for a living and making a difference and doing all these things and traveling and speaking and coaching. And I think for a lot of people, it's like, it's good to look at what is the worst case scenario. And I remember sitting down and being like, literally, this is the worst thing that could have possibly happened. I leave my steady, stable, full-time job. I go off on my own to pursue speaking and being an entrepreneur. It doesn't work out. I don't make any money. And then I get another job.
Yeah.
That's it. Like literally, I'm like, I have 10 years of experience and a master's degree. Like if I really wanted to get another job or even come back to this university, like I probably could if I wanted to. Yeah. So it's like we think that like the worst thing that's going to happen is like, I'm going to end up like homeless on the street and not be able to pay my rent. And it's like, we are so much more resourceful, I think, than we give ourselves credit for.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, if not now, when? I think so many times people like wait for the right time to break up with somebody, the right time to leave your job, like working in a university of like, do I leave in January? Do I leave before the end of the school year? Do I, you know, and I was like, there's never going to be a perfect time. And people will be disappointed, you know, like a lot. And the other thing that I had to tell myself is like, the world will go on. Like, oh, but I started this program and who's going to run it? And like, what about my students and who's going to help them? It's like, they'll be fine. Like all these people that feel like if I leave my job, like everything will fall apart. We're like making ourselves a little bit too important. And I had to be like, everybody will be okay. Everybody will be okay. And, yeah. So I think that it's surrounding yourself with people who will support you in leaning in, because there's going to be, it's like there's the yay sayers and the naysayers. And there's like the risk adverse people that are like, why would you ever leave that job? Or why would you ever pivot in your business? Versus like, I support you. And like, what is your biggest yes? And I always tell people too, like, this isn't a test run. Yeah. Like, this is your motherfucking life. And if you want something different, like, what are you waiting for? Like, again, it's like, we're waiting for someone else to give us that permission. And it's like, can we give ourselves permission and then surround ourselves with people who like really can support us in that move and in that choice and that bold move? Yeah. So important. Having a coach, a community, mentors, support. I will, if there's any soapbox I stand on, that's it for sure. Like, don't try to do it alone. Don't do it alone. Yeah. So important.
That's fucking beautiful. I'm inspired. I'm changing careers right now.
Yeah.
I gotta go, guys.
You got bit. You got bit by the bug.
I did.
You are.
Yeah. I had an opportunity to speak and teach in a group setting at Camp Yes. And I was like, I can affect many lives at the same time. Because I have always loved my one-on-one work. And it was just wonderful. And to have you sit, took it as a high honor that you sat in my class. And it was just profound. And so I too am feeling a pivot in my own life. And I'm excited to see where it takes me. And the only person I need permission from is me. And luckily I have the most supportive partner. She's like, whatever you want to do, let's go.
Yeah, that's important part. Again, the community of surrounding yourself with people who will support you in your yes. In your home, you have a lovely placard that's like, let's start with yes, or it starts with yes. And I think about that of like, how can we start from a place of yes? Because so often, so many of us start with no. Like, I've noticed this a lot with myself and with, I've seen this reflected to me from clients of like, oh, I want this thing, but no, I'm already going to start with no because I think I can't afford it. I think I can't do it. I think nobody will help me with the kids. I think my dog will miss me, whatever it is. The no is, we start so often with a place of no. So expanding our mindset of like, how can we start from yes? Yes, I want to do this. Yeah.
And asking, like, one of the questions that I love is, how can I? Like, so often people get stuck in, I don't know how. I don't know how to pivot. I don't know how to leave a job. I don't know how to have a sales conversation. And I love to ask this question of like, how do I make success inevitable? Like, what do I need to set me up for a win? Like, when I left my study stable full-time job, I wasn't like, here we go, I'm just gonna like hope things happen. Like, I had a coach, I had a mastermind, I had a community. I was like, I am going to make sure I have the support that I need to be successful at this. Like, I'm here to win. Like, I'm here to figure this out. And there are so many resources, and like, whatever, if there's something that you want to do, someone else has already done it. And the amount of resources that we have, and like, whether it's a free resource, a YouTube video, or, you know, like, what you can find guidance or help or support to pretty much be able to learn or do anything. And so it's like, how can I? And how committed am I? Because it's like, if you know, we always get what we want more. It's like, do you want that comfort? It's like the uncomfortable comfort. It's like, this sucks, but I know what it feels like. You know, it's like, I think about this idea of, if someone has always lived their life at a 5 or a 6, or their business has always felt like a 5 or a 6, they have no idea what a 9 or a 10 feels like. And it's like, oh, what would that look like if I, you know, really leaned into that? And it's hard for people, you know, one of the questions I ask all the time on a coaching call or in my talks is like, what do you really want? And people are like, I've never thought about that. you know, or, you know, especially women that are moms or partners that like have gotten lose themselves in their work or in their relationship. And it's like, I am so worried and concerned about what everyone else wants and what everyone else thinks, that like I lost touch with that. So it's like tuning into that, and then, you know, permission to want what you want because you want it. We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
Just permission to want what you want just because you want it.
Yeah.
Right. And like that idea of going from good to great, like good to fucking awesome, like good to exceptional, because a lot of people are stuck in good land. And it's like, I don't want to get to the end of my life and say like, that's pretty good.
Meh.
Not bad. Not bad.
Versus like getting to the end of your life and be like, I fucking showed up. I played full out. I took risks. I went for it. I quit the job. I started the business. I made the pivot. I listened to I followed my heart. You know, I was true to myself no matter what. And I think that's, you know, when this person is asking this question of kind of, they're like, well, what do I do with this? Like, you listen. And then you take action from that place. You lean in. You say yes. You start with yes. And you're like, okay, how can I make this happen? What would that look like if I leaned into this? And again, I think that just knowing there's never a perfect time. I think everyone's like, again, waiting for the perfect time or waiting for the permission. It's like, you get to make that decision.
Yeah. Yeah. When would now be a good time to get started?
Yeah. What do they say? It's like the best time to plant a tree is today, or the second best time is, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
The first time was yesterday. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That quote.
Yeah.
That's the one.
That's the one. You guys know it.
You guys know it. It's great. It's a good one. Highly recommend.
It's so good.
Yeah. So on that bit about mediocrity, I call it mediocrity, like 5 or 6, right? Knowing life at a 5 or 6. For a very long time, I lived in that space. And the thing about 8, 9 is that I don't know if I can survive 8, 9. At 8, 9, I get scared I'm going to lose it. And so it's like, how do you like get your nervous system to accept that this change, you're going to be okay? And with listening to that voice, you know, it was the beginning of Pandy. It was the beginning of Pandy. We were all in lockdown. Y'all remember that time. And I remember in a meditation, I just heard, quit the rat race and go take off. Like take off, go have a honeymoon. And I came out of it. I was like, that is crazy, baby. I just heard the voice say, quit the rat race and let's go take off. And it was absolutely scary. It was terrifying to just go, what if we leaned into what's next? And we don't even know what's next. And that entire journey for us was, I don't know where we're sleeping tomorrow. And that's fucking terrifying. And I know that if I take the step, Source will build the bridge. I can just keep taking step after step after step in faith. And you know, I have had to get my nervous system. I have had to do a lot of release work. First of all. I've done a lot of release work with letting go of the baggage, to not feeling worthy of the 9-10 life, you know, to go, I deserve it. I deserve it because I deserve it, not because I've done anything or anything, but I deserve a great life because I deserve it. And when I leaned into that, like, the sky's been the limit. So,
there is no limit. I feel like the limit doesn't exist.
The limit does not exist.
I feel like we've all been walking this path in our own ways, and like that honeymoon was amazing and terrifying. Like day 3, we were like, we're gonna set off and go camping, and day 3 we're like, we're not sure if we like camping. We're in a hotel room crying. Like what did we do? We have all of our worldly belongings in a Toyota Tacoma. So, but being able to walk that path and really make that space to choose for yourself. And like, I really want to hone back in on the importance of surrounding yourself with that community. During our honeymoon, I was still in the production mindset. So I filmed our entire honeymoon to make a documentary about it. And we landed in Portland. I'm like, great. I have left the job that I no longer wanted. I'm making the movie I want to make. It stars me and my love, and it's about love. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
And every day I'm trying to edit and it's not coming together. I'm doing the tutorials. It like took me months to edit 45 seconds together. And when I worked at Buzz, I know it is a good 45 seconds. But when I was at BuzzFeed, you had to edit like a video a week. You know, it was amazing contrast, and I was struggling. And baby was like, "What if you didn't make the movie? What if you just didn't make the movie?" Yeah. And I was just like, what do you mean?
But I'm supposed to make the movie.
I'm supposed to make the movie.
I said I would.
But I said I would.
But I said I would.
You don't make a pivot like that. And having a partner who reflected to me, what's the most important to you? And for me, it's joy and living in my pleasure. And so encouraging me to follow that, and you getting a mastermind and a coach to encourage you to follow what you want, what lights you up, what means being in your zone of genius. And now I have a business where I'm in my zone of genius, and every day I feel like I've decided to stop calling it work. I'm like, how am I serving? Because it doesn't feel like work. It's what I love. And it's just like, how am I serving? And so that importance of who you surround yourself with, I feel like cannot be stressed enough as we're taking these giant, massive steps and trusting that source will be the bridge. Huh?
And if I could add to that, you didn't know what was next.
Yeah. She
didn't know what was next at all. She just knew she didn't want to make the movie anymore. And so she put the movie down, and we leaned into making a podcast. Oh, yeah. And as she started editing the podcast, she's like, I don't get bored of this. This is fun. I'm excited. She'll be up till 2, 3 in the morning editing the podcast. Yeah. So the thing that brought her joy came in, and it wasn't even on the docket.
Yeah.
Like, you can just put something down and let.
Yeah. Just because you didn't want to do it. And like, how many things do we do, or again, jobs or relationships with businesses that we stay in because we think that we should or we're supposed to. And we live in this culture where it's like, the longer you stay in a relationship, the better. The longer you're in a job, the better. And like, it's not the years. It's like, is it actually serving you anymore? Is it in alignment with who you are, with what you want? And if it's not, being willing like to put it down and not know what's next. I think that it's easy for people to be like, oh, I know that this is what I want to do. But like, when people don't know what's next, but they're like, this just isn't what I want anymore. And I think, you know, whether that's relationships, people staying stuck in a relationship, then it's like, people would rather be with someone that isn't a good fit because they're so terrified of being alone, or rather be in this job, you know, because they're terrified of, they don't know what's next. But sometimes we need a space and to not know. And like, how comfortable can you be in the not knowing, in the unknown, in the space in between? And in our world, we don't give ourselves any space in between. We fill it with the doom scrolling, like the space in between, like standing in line at the grocery store, or just spaciousness to tune in. And that's why I love creating these experiences like camp that give people an opportunity to, what I like to say is disconnect to reconnect, of stepping away from like the noise and the busyness and the distractions. And because I think what happens is so many people go into default mode, and instead of living their life by design, with intentionality, with purpose, and they're just like, oops, I just like ended up here. And every day is like Groundhog Day, or they're just going through the motions or living at a 5 or a 6. And I think that piece of, we live in a culture where I think more people are more comfortable complaining about their mediocre life than talking about their exceptional life, because people we don't want to make other people feel bad or insecure or uncomfortable. So we downplay our wins, we downplay our successes. We don't want to be cocky or egotistical or rub it in. And it's like, no, like you get to have an exceptional life. And that's why like it's way easier to live and create an exceptional life when you are surrounded by other people who are also on that path. Because I mean, I love the quote of you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And if you're hanging out with people who live in mediocrity and that's what they want and that's what they're up to in the world, that's probably going to be the case because it impacts what they eat. It impacts their choices, their decisions, where they spend their time, their money, their energy. When you're hanging out with people who want an exceptional life, who are growth oriented, who want to say yes to the things that light them up, it also gives you permission to do that too. So it's like surrounding yourself with those types of people and figuring out where are they hanging out and finding them and cultivating and nourishing those friendships and those relationships and mentorships or coaches or communities or whatever it is. I can't emphasize that enough. It's so important.
Yes. I feel that joy with being your friend. Like, honestly, so happy to have you in my, top 5 people because I just feel so inspired around you. So thank you for being that person. How do the people in our life or our listeners get a hold of you? How do they follow the Marli Williams show? Tell us how to get
Yes, let's do it. So you can go to my website, which is my name, marliwilliams.com. I'd love for you to follow me on Instagram at Marli Williams. I am starting a podcast coming this fall, the Marli Williams Show, all about leadership. The tagline is "Let's Lead Together," and you can also find me on Facebook. Everything under my name, Marli Williams, and I'd love to jam with you, connect with you, talk to you, learn about you. And and I'm just so I feel so honored and so stoked to call both of you my friend and in my inner circle. And just this, we were talking about this the other night of having people in your life that are the show up people, but people that show up, they honor their word, they do what they say they're going to do. And most importantly, we pick each other up from the airport, and that is true friendship. That is true friendship. That's really what it's all about.
1,000%.
So good.
So good. It's been such an honor. Thank you so much for pouring your love and wisdom into this podcast. And I'm excited for all the things that you're creating next, your podcast and holding space for leaders. It's truly y'all, do not sleep. If there is anything you take, follow her and get involved in her world. She is holding massive space for massive transformation, and you definitely want to be a part of it. So get involved.
That's what it's all about.
Get involved. And if you're on the precipice of your life, reach out and get support so that you can make those bold moves and take bold action and feel the support of community and source with you.
So good.
So good. All right. Well, thank you, Marli. It's been awesome having you.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Oh, man. Marli brought the heat today.
So much fire. So much wisdom.
So much wisdom. To spend the weekend with her was just fucking phenomenal.
Life-changing.
Life-changing. Just her ability to lead in a group and to inspire, people had fire under their asses to change things. We're in a Facebook group. Women were making moves on Monday. It's just incredible. And to have her on the podcast, I just take it as fuck yes.
The highest honor.
Highest honor.
What was your biggest takeaway?
My biggest takeaway today was that just wanting to is enough to start something new. You don't have to wait for it to crash and burn or, let it be terrible. You don't have to find out that there's a rock bottom, or as my friend Valen says, or that rock bottom has a basement. We don't need to find that out. We can just actually go on and choose to change because we want to choose to change. Just something can be good and you want great.
Yes.
Yes. That's what I'm taking with me.
Yes.
How about you?
the two things that super stood out for me are the things that I too am a stand for, and just to hear someone else share them as how they've been pivotal in their path.
Yeah.
The power of mentorship and the power of community.
Yes.
Like when you have those two allies on your side, in your court, the limit does not exist. The limit does not exist. You would take every place that I have traversed into my life, deep into the unknown, mentorship and community has held the space for me to make that possible.
Yes.
So hearing how she was able to lean in and take bold moves with that kind of support, it was just, it warmed my heart.
Yeah. Just and I just loved this question because it's vulnerable to move on when things are good. Yeah. Or not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad. Well, we are here encouraging you and supporting you in having a phenomenal, amazing, life-giving, orgasmic kind of life. And we are stands for not settling, and we are stands for you moving beyond. It's not bad. Yeah. So if there is anything that you have a question about, anything that's been on your heart and mind that you want support around, feel free to give us a call. Our number is 971-895-4111. You can also slide into our DMs on Instagram at Honest Feedback Podcast. We are here for you, living your best life.
Yeah. And if you like what you're hearing, and I know you do, like, follow, share, leave us a review. We are here to get out and help as many people as possible. So you sharing, you liking, following us on all the platforms, that really helps us in the algorithm get found.
Yes.
And until we meet again, be honest with each other.
Bye.